Hello bookworms, it's Jade from Bedtime Bookworm and welcome back to my channel. Today is the start of another reading vlog. So I'm really proud of myself because it has been exactly 1 week and 1 day since I ended my last reading vlog. So I'm trying to get back on track with these things, and I have things to update you on because I have done a bunch of reading since last week. A couple of these books I finished up right at the end of the month or beginning of March. So you probably have already seen my thoughts on them, or like my final thoughts on them, in my February wrap up. But the first book since my last check-in that I finished was Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. And I had checked in with you guys when I was about halfway through with the book, and I was really enjoying it, and I ended up really enjoying it all the way through. I ended up giving this book 5 stars, but it is definitely like a 4.5 that I'm rounding up to a 5. It wasn't perfect, mainly because of the ending. The ending is a super cliffhanger. Like, it kind of ends right in the middle of a climax, and it really leaves you hanging. Like, it doesn't feel like an ending, which I feel like a lot of times would ruin a book for me, but for some reason I didn't hate it that much, but I could see that being a big reason why people don't like the book, because of the way it ends. It does end super abruptly, and the next book hasn't even been announced yet, so that's like really frustrating, just like from a reader perspective. Like, I don't have an end in sight as to when I'm gonna get the next book. But I really enjoyed this one. Definitely recommend it, especially if you're interested or intrigued by the idea of like a pre-Columbian inspiration. There is magic, there are gods, there are these animal companions, these really big crows that they're smart. And I also recommend the audiobook. The audiobook is available on Scribd if you have a Scribd subscription. That's how I listen to it. Definitely looking forward to the next book. And then the other book that I talked about in my last reading vlog that I have now finished and is also in my February wrap-up is Burial Rites by Hannah Kent. This was my Patreon book club pick for February. It's been on my 1-day TBR for so long. I know a lot of people really love this book. It's my friend Elliot's like one of her favorite historical fiction books. So I was definitely really looking forward to it, and I wanted to read it in a colder month, so February, because it takes place in Iceland and it's about the last woman in Iceland to be executed. It is historical fiction, but it's based on a true story, and the author did a lot of research on this like real thing that happened, and this is kind of her interpretation of what she thinks happened. And I'm sad to say that I didn't love this as much as I wanted to. I ended up giving it 4 stars, but it is kind of like on the lower end of 4 stars. I just didn't emotionally connect to it. Going into it, that's what I had heard, was that it was like really sad and it was gonna make me cry, and I generally I cry really easily, so I don't know what it was about why I wasn't emotionally connected to it. One thing though is that it is definitely very atmospheric. It definitely made me feel kind of cold. I can't say that the way the book describes Iceland like made me want to go there. It sounded like a really hard place to live because it is, set in the past when they didn't have plumbing. People get real dirty, they have to like slaughter their own animals and all of that kind of stuff. It was a little bit on the graphic side. Oh, and I should definitely give content warnings. There were some really hard things to read in this book, including, slaughtering of animals, like farm animals, but also rape is described in this book, not in like super detail, but it does happen, I think, more than once. And there's also childbirth and like a late miscarriage where a woman like actually gives birth to a baby too early, and that was really hard to read, especially because like right now I am pregnant. So definitely has some dark stuff in it. I can totally see why people really enjoyed this, and I wish that I had emotionally connected with Agnes or some of the other characters more. Agnes is the main character, the one that was the last woman to be executed, but I didn't feel that, and so that made me not enjoy it as much as I wish I would have. My book club hasn't met to discuss it yet, so I am very interested to see what other people thought of it when we meet to discuss it. One more book that I did mention I started in my last reading vlog was The Wolf and the Whale by Jordana Max Brodsky. I was like 30% into it in my last vlog when I kind of put it on the back burner to finish those other 2 books that I just talked about. And I did pick it up again a few days ago, but I'm only like 37% through it, only a little bit further. But something big kind of happened at like the 35% mark. Something that I had kind of like been waiting to happen based on what I'd kind of heard about. This book is dark, guys. I was not expecting it to be dark. There's a lot of death and rape and blood and stuff. Like, it goes there. But I am finding it really interesting, and after what I read last night or the night before, I'm very curious how things are gonna go. So that one I think is going well. And then the last book that I just started a couple nights ago is The Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. This is the first book in the Life Ship Traders series, which I've been meaning to read ever since I finished Farseer. I meant to read this trilogy last year and I never got around to it. So it was definitely on my list of things to read for 2021. And then I heard that there is a read-along happening for this. So it's one book a month, with Ship of Magic being in March, book 2 in what comes after March, April, and book 3 in May. Hopefully I got those months right. So there's a read-along happening, and I was like, okay, this is the excuse I needed to read this book. So I started it the other day. I have it on ebook, which I purchased myself, and then I am listening to the audiobook, which is available on Scribd. I really liked the audiobook for the Farseer trilogy. I really enjoyed that narrator, and I thought he really brought those characters to life and those books to life. Well, this is a different narrator, and honestly, I'm not digging her. It's just the way that she ends her sentences sometimes. She does give some interesting voices to some of the characters when they're speaking, like when there are other characters speaking within a scene, she gives them different voices, but her internal monologue is the same no matter what character she's listening to, which, I mean, that's a difficult thing to do, but it's just something that I noticed. I don't know. I don't love the narrator, but I don't have anything else really that I want to read on audiobook right now, so I'm trying to push through it. I don't know. I might drop the audiobook at some point and just read the ebook, but I'm reading The Wolf and the Whale on ebook, so I'm always trying to like keep multiple formats going. Anyways, I'm only like 8% through it, so not that far really, and it's off to a decent start. I was a little unsure at first because the very first chapter opened from a point of view that I was like not expecting and like didn't know existed in this world. I mean, it's the first chapter, so I think I can say it, but there's like, it opens from the point of view of like a sea serpent or something. Like, I don't actually know exactly what it is, but after that chapter, the word serpent has been used. So it started off like unexpectedly because I didn't know that that was like a thing in this world. I just met some of the characters that are on a ship that is not a live ship yet, but will be, I believe. And then I also got to meet a live ship just within the first like 8%. So it's off to a pretty good start, other than the fact that I'm not digging the narrator. But I'm very interested to see where the story's gonna go, and hopefully I can finish this one soon because I have a lot of things that I want to read in March. But that brings me to the end of the things that I am currently reading. None of the things I'm currently reading I have in physical form, so that's why the shelf behind me is blank. But I am going to the library tomorrow to pick up some more of my spring TBR, which is a video I haven't filmed yet. I might start another physical book based on one of the ones that I pick up tomorrow. We shall see. But I've got like 6 books waiting for me, which means that I should also have some sort of life clip section that includes me picking up those books, so hopefully I remember to film that. Anyways, those are the things that I have been reading over the last week, and I will check in with you guys in another week or so. Bye. Hey guys, so it has been exactly a week since my last check-in. Yay! I really feel good about having an actual like 2-week reading vlog instead of like the 6-week reading vlog that I did last time. Since it has been an actual week since my last check-in, I haven't finished anything since last week, but I have made good reading progress. I have been reading over this last week, so I'm excited for this update. So my ebook that I am currently reading is still The Wolf and the Whale by Jordana Max Brodsky, and I am now 50% through it, maybe even 55, whereas I was like 35-ish last check-in, and I am definitely enjoying it. I think that the first 30% of it was a lot of like setup and character background. This book is definitely very character focused. There's stuff happening, but especially the first 30%, it felt a little bit slow on the plot, but we got to know the main character really well and kind of see their history. And now, I'd say around the 30% mark, something really interesting happened, which I mentioned in my last check-in. And from there, there's been a lot more action in the last like 15% or whatever. I can't say that I'm like loving it. Like, I don't think it's going to be a new favorite. I don't think it'll be a 5-star read, but I am enjoying my time with this book. I don't know, it'll depend on how things go towards the end. This book definitely has fantasy elements, like magic exists in the world. The gods of the different like people and cultures in the book are real. So you have Inuit people in this book, their gods are real, and now we have the gods of like Norse mythology are real. There's a mention, I believe, of like Greek and Roman gods. So like all of those gods from different cultures are all real. They all exist, which I think is really cool. But yeah, I'm a little over halfway through that one. I am enjoying it. Very curious to see where it's gonna go and how my feelings might change by the end of it. I think it's gonna depend a lot on how my emotional heartstrings are pulled, or if they are pulled. But definitely a really unique and interesting concept for a book. The other book that I had started reading at the end of my last reading vlog is Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb, and I am definitely enjoying this. I'm primarily doing audiobook for this one, even though I'm not loving the narrator. She's tolerable. I was a little unsure in the first, like, I don't know, 10-15% of the book, just because there's so many different perspectives, and in the beginning you're just like being introduced to everybody, so it's kind of a lot to kind of wrap your head around, but now things are starting to come together more, and I am so drawn in to the world and these characters. Robin Hobb has already made me cry, and I was honestly surprised. I shouldn't be, because Robin Hobb has made me cry many times, but usually that's like at the end of the book, or, you know, if it's not at the end of the book, it's not at the beginning of a book where I've just met these characters. So I'd say there's a chapter, I was around 18% into the book, and I cried like a baby, just like tears running down my face while I was reading. And I was just like so conflicted, because not conflicted, but just like confused because I felt like I barely knew these characters. But for some reason, I was very emotional and very upset by what I was reading, even though I feel like I just met these characters. Like, why? I didn't understand why I cared so much, but it's the way she writes, I guess. I don't know. I think after that point, I was like, okay, I'm a sucker for this. Like, I'm totally sucked in now. There's just a lot of like character relationship drama. I have such like negative feelings about one of the characters. I just hate him so much, like with all my soul. Every time he opens his mouth and like says things that I just like don't agree with, and it's really frustrating. So I have a lot of feelings about Ship of Magic, and I'm only, what did I say, 30% through it? But it started at like 18 to 20% where I got super invested, whereas before that point in the story, I was just like, this is interesting, we're meeting all these people, blah, blah, blah. And then like 18%, something happened and I cried, and I'm just totally sucked in now. I'm really enjoying Ship of Magic, and I can't wait to read the rest of it. And then the other thing that I have been reading, I started reading it over the weekend, like about a week ago. It's a Friday. Today is the 12th, March 12th. and that is Fireborn by Rosaria Munda. You may have heard of this book from my friend Elliot Brooks. She loves this book, and she's the reason why I'm reading it. Not just because she has recommended it, you know, many times, but because her birthday is in March. What she does every year for her friends' birthdays is read one of their favorite books. And that's not something that I traditionally do or anything, but because it's something that she does, I decided I wanted to do it for her, and this is one of her favorite books. And so I am reading it in March because of her. It's her birthday. It's like a birthday present to her. And I am very happy to say that I'm loving this. I'm already like halfway through it. This is a book that I've made the most progress on. I've read about half of it in just a week, a little less than a week, and I only have this physically, so that means I have really been carving out time to read this. This is a YA fantasy book, and there's dragons, which you know is definitely one of my bookish buzzwords, and I really do like the dragons. There's like different kinds of dragons. There is a little bit of a school setting. It has that kind of trope where there was a revolution and there's like one child that survived the revolution and was an orphan, and now he is going to a school and is like one of the elites in the school. There's like a competition going on to figure out who's going to be like the best dragon rider, who's going to be like the leader of their dragon fleet or whatever. So I'm really enjoying the politics and how much like internal struggle the main character has, because basically his family was murdered by this government. Now he is like trying to get a leadership position in this government, and he also like he grew up with the new government and the new philosophies, and he like kind of believes that what they did is right, and that maybe his family like wasn't great at running the kingdom or whatever. Like he has a lot of internal conflict about that, and I really enjoy that. There's like a slow burn romance. I mean, I don't know if it would even be considered a romance at this point, and we're halfway through, but there's like slow burn attraction. I'm really enjoying this. My eyes have been glued to this book, and I cannot wait to finish it. I have a feeling this is going to be one of my new favorites. I mean, who knows? I'm only halfway through, but there has not been a single second reading this that I was like, oh, I don't know if I like it. Like from the very beginning, have really liked this book. Alright guys, those are the things that I have been reading over the last week. Let me know down in the comment section if you have read any of these and what you have thought of them. Or let me know what you've been reading over the last couple of weeks. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more bookish content. That is all I have for now. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bookworms, keep reading. Bye.